What's up, everybody? It's Trey Smith with College GameTime, back with another episode of the College GameTime podcast. We are quickly becoming the #1 show for American Athletic Conference fans. And today I have got a very special treat. Okay, long-time award-winning columnist, journalist, reporter, writer, covered the West Virginia Mountaineers for years, okay, with a strong history with Oliver Luck, is joining the show. His name is Mitch Vingle. Some of you have probably heard of him. You're going to get to know him here in just a second. He put some things on Twitter. Let me start here. He put some stuff on Twitter that I don't feel like is getting enough attention. In the first thing that caught my attention, I should say, is he put out there, I think yesterday, he said, I think there's some confusion out there about ex-West Virginia AD Oliver Luck. He's not consulting for the Pac-12, but rather Oregon State and Washington State. He's not working with Stanford and Cal at this time. As you may know, Luck has many clients throughout college athletics. So we're going to talk to him, and what you have to understand is this is somebody who's been in direct communication with Oliver Luck, like direct communication. Okay, and we're going to get him to talk about that. And I promise you will not regret watching this episode. Those of you that want facts, if you've been following me along, I've been doing my best to keep things as consistent and accurate as possible. And if I don't know, I just tell you I don't know. I know right now it's unsettling. It's realignment season. Things change by the second sometimes, and it's very easy to just scour every message board in sight, find the hottest, sexiest rumor, and then go blast it on Twitter. And then when it gets there, it all of a sudden gains traction and gains legs, and then you start wondering, wait a minute, is this true? Wait a minute, is this true? And that's why I keep trying to bring everyone back to the facts. We talked about college football history yesterday and how, this whole thing about this conference dissolving. Like, there's just so much misinformation that's floating around right now, and I'm trying to be a source of information that at least keeps us going in the right direction with accurate information. And I'm telling you right now, with Mitch Vingle, he's about to dispel some rumors and give us some information that came straight from the source. So, without further ado, let me bring him in. Mitch Vingle, there he is. How are you doing, sir? Thanks for joining the College GameTime podcast today.
No problem, buddy. It's nice to be on.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I was kind of telling everyone before that, I reached out to you on Twitter. There was a couple of things you had already put out there that I feel like aren't getting enough attention, at least in the American athletic side of things. And as I said, Mitch here, he's an award-winning journalist, columnist, writer, covered West Virginia athletics for many, 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 many years. And in that time, you were connected with Oliver Luck. I guess you care to, anything you can share about your history?
Actually, Trey, Oliver and I went to college together.
Oh.
He was a quarterback at West Virginia back when I was in school, and when I graduated, all my buddies were on the 5-year plan, and I was on the 4-year. And Oliver was the only other guy who graduated in 4 years with me. So when I walked across the stage, I looked at him like, that's the only dude I know. So we've known each other for a long, long time.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that. So y'all's roots go back even deeper than your time covering the team and him being in administration. I mean, y'all are buddies from way back when. So.
Yep.
So now that we've established that, I did already kind of share on here the tweet, that you had an interaction in regards specifically to his role right now with the Pac. There's a lot of rumors flying around on the American side of things. And unfortunately, we're in a time where you can just scour any message board and throw it up on Twitter, and somehow it starts to gain legs. And I'm just curious, as someone who has a personal relationship with Luck, and has talked to him recently, is there anything you can share, maybe in reference to that tweet that you've put out in your conversations with him about his role?
I'll tell you how it came about. Somebody had emailed me and asked about whether Oliver was still connected with the Country Roads Trust, which is West Virginia's NIL collective, which I work with at Wheelhouse Creative here now. And, I responded that, yeah, nothing has changed. He's a co-founder along with Ken Kendrick, who is the owner of the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Oh.
So anyway, I reached out to him before sending it back to the reporter and said, nothing has changed. He's still, a founder. He doesn't do any of the day-to-day stuff.
Sure.
They have a staff that does that. But he is still connected. He's a proud alum of West Virginia University, and
Absolutely.
and will always be a Mountaineer and all that stuff. So, but he's got so many connections. He has so many clients across college athletics and everything. So anyway, I called and asked him, and that's kind of how it started. And he said, just to clear it up, he goes, my clients are Oregon State and Washington State. It's not Stanford and Cal. And, basically he said that, Stanford and Cal are still on Tinder.
Yeah.
They're still looking. And so anyway, and we talked a little bit. I was curious. I was asking him if, with all the defections from the Pac-12, if there's even a quorum. I didn't know how the bylaws were set up and all that stuff. And basically, what he was saying is those 4 schools are basically CEOs, and they can make decisions. They just have to be unanimous. So it doesn't have to be 7 schools or what have you. Just as long as it's a unanimous vote, and they can make a lot of decisions, is what he was saying. So technically, he's with Oregon State, Washington State, helping them, and but I'm sure he's in contact with the other schools and with everybody across the country, the ACC, the AAC,
Sure.
I'm sure he's talking to everybody.
So what would that role be like if he's working with Washington State and Oregon State, just as someone that, is unfamiliar, like as a consultant, what would what's his mission with them, I guess?
I guess his mission, I'm just guessing because we didn't really get into it, but I would think it'd just be, he's just making phone calls. He's seeing whatever avenues, paths are available to those schools, and to see how he can best help them, if indeed he can.
Okay.
If anybody can. When Oliver was at West Virginia, he's the one that got West Virginia into the Big 12.
Yep.
And that was quite a feat, because it wasn't only West Virginia that wanted in, it was Louisville, and they picked West Virginia over Louisville. And that was because Oliver had gone to school at Texas. He knew a lot of the people at the University of Texas, which is, at that time, the big thumper.
Yeah.
And so, they had to fight off the Louisville, Mitch McConnell and all those people who were trying to get Louisville in there. So it was quite a feat for him. And I always talk to him. I say, thank God for you, or West Virginia would be in the same position as Oregon State and Washington State right now.
And did he by chance acknowledge even that it was a report that, I don't know that it was intentionally false. It may have just been a misunderstanding of the person that put it out there in regards to him being hired as a consultant to help, almost like there's this narrative right now, Mitch, that he's been brought on to like salvage the PAC conference. But what I'm hearing from you, it's more, no, he's brought in as a consultant. He's helping these 2 teams. Now, it doesn't mean that he's not also in communication with Stanford and Cal as well, but his role right now.
Well, and you got to remember, too, his son played quarterback.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Stanford. So there's a lot of connections in there. So, but you have so many people out there, especially, as an OG when it comes to journalism.
Right.
It kills me to see how, the disintegration of newspapers and really rock solid, reliable journalists. It really kills me. But now you got a lot of people on the internet just throwing darts.
Yes.
And sometimes they hit, sometimes they talk to the right people, but they're not as concerned with double checking and triple checking and all that stuff before letting a tweet fly or a report fly. I'll give you an example, because I sent him one telling him that there was a report that he and the commissioner of the Pac-12 had met with Apple for a long time, and if they were able to pull off a merger with the AAC, that voids the ESPN contract and all that stuff.
Yes.
And I texted him, I said, just for your information, this is out there. He texted me back, this is verbatim, complete fabrication. How do people create this out of thin air?
Thank you.
So
and that's
there you go.
from Mr. Luck, correct?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Mitch, I want you to know from my vantage point, I've tried to stay and people can go watch all of my videos, read anything I've written, any of my tweets. I've tried to stay very consistent and be as accurate and responsible as possible with what I'm putting out there. And I continue to get flooded by those things. And that was one of them, because then I start, right. It almost makes me question, okay, well, maybe I don't understand something. But I saw that about getting out of this contract with ESPN and getting dropped and then dissolving the conference. I did a whole show yesterday about it doesn't work that way. And I went back to the Big 8 in the Southwest Conference and laid out how that process went through. And just there's so many of these so much misinformation that's out there. So I appreciate you sharing that because that at least dispels one rumor that is out there, and it's heavy in the American athletic side.
And, it really is one of those things, like I said, it really hurts my heart because, with somebody who tried to do what you do and tried to and work beside people who, I worked beside a guy who won the Pulitzer Prize. Okay. He was the one who uncovered the opioid crisis.
Wow.
And got that going. And from, a little newspaper in West Virginia, it was an amazing thing. And to watch those people double and triple check their sources and do all the legwork that needs to be done. And then again, seeing people that just throw darts and again, once in a while they're going to hit.
Yes.
And then that gives them more credence. But what I would suggest to people who are following, watch the people you're interested in and see how many times they're right. You need to be consistently correct. For me, if I didn't know, I just shut up.
That's good.
If somebody else gets, if Trey, if you get the scoop, well, good for you, buddy.
Yeah, right.
I'm happy for you.
Right.
I just, the other stuff where there are some people out there, they feel like they need to be the guy every single time.
It's almost like a volume shooter thing. Like if I go score 10 points in a basketball game, that's good. But if I took 50 shots to get it, there was a lot of misses in there. Well, okay. So then while we're on this, I'm curious because another thing that's been floating around there is that there have been these discussions between Commissioner Mike Oresco and Oliver Luck. Look, not that that's out of the ballpark, and that doesn't even necessarily have to mean anything just because they're having conversations, but has anything in that wheelhouse come up in your interactions?
No.
Okay.
No. And again, that's pretty much all that we spoke about. So that's all I can really attest to.
Well, that's a lot though. And again, I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah. And again, I got the clearance from him because nowadays I'm not a reporter anymore. I'm in marketing angle and helping the guys.
Absolutely.
With their collective and all that stuff. But I still have roots. I still do a blog each week.
Well, here, I want to be respectful of your time. Why don't you go ahead and tell people right now, like where they can find you, promote whatever you'd like to promote here, whoever you're with, wherever, and I'll include links in the description of this video as well.
Great, yeah. It's I work for a great firm. It's a great marketing firm, the best in West Virginia, Wheelhouse Creative LLC in Wheeling, West Virginia. And we do anything from high-end videos to pamphlets.
Nice.
We do it all. We have a nice big staff, and so we do really high-quality work. So if anybody wants to do it, that's why Country Roads Trust came to us. We designed they actually have a beer that they put out called Country Roads Trust Lager, and 15% goes to the collective, and everybody in West Virginia is going crazy for it. And my company, I'm proud to say, did the design of the can.
Nice.
So if anybody finds that beer, that helps West Virginia University and so forth. So very proud to be with the company here. And, online I'm at Mitch Vingle.
Yeah.
I do a blog, like I said, and I put that on Instagram and Twitter. It's called The New View. My column used to be The View from Here.
Oh, nice.
So now that I'm out of journalism, I keep my fingers in a little bit and it's called The New View blog, and I do it once a week.
Well, awesome. Well, if you guys that are watching right now, obviously you see his handle right there on the screen, but if you're listening on one of our streaming platforms, you can look in the description and see some of those places where you can find Mitch. Honestly, I mean, Mitch, hopefully maybe, this could be the first of more times of us, chatting it up a little bit, as someone who's sort of breaking into this realm and has been for a couple years now independently. I always love it when I can get perspectives of people who have the experience and the success that you've had in the industry, just to, continue to grow and get better at the craft. And then also, like today, I mean, I feel like that was, people can choose not to accept it, but that was factual information. It dispelled some rumors, and hopefully it will help the ones. And I think most of the people who follow me, they're trying to get the truth, right? Because they know I'm not just going to give them something just to get clicks or engagement. And so
that's when you can sleep good at night.
Absolutely.
When you know that you've given the folks the correct information, the best information you have. Now, once in a while it goes sideways.
Sure.
I had a guy who, one of the coaches told me one day they were getting him to transfer, put it out there, and guess what? The kid decided he wasn't going to. But that's
part of it.
That's going to happen once in a while. So,
well,
I mean, I've been in this game a long time. I was in it when West Virginia was an independent, if you can believe that. And then when they went to the Big 12, they first went to the Big 12 in football, when they really wanted to be in there in basketball, with all the great teams back in the day. But I covered the Big 12 when there was, Big East. I'm sorry.
No, I'm with you. Yeah.
When they went with the Big East, and so I met Patrick Ewing and Chris Mullen and all those guys, and Allen Iverson played West Virginia and all. It was some great times. But I followed all the realignment. So it's not going to be stopping, Trey. I can promise you that.
No, and that's what I always say to try to preface it, not as a cop-out, but as a true statement that with realignment season, sometimes things change by the hour. The most difficult part of realignment is the fluidity of it. And so I very much appreciate your time today, Mitch. I thank you so much for bringing what you brought to the table, and hopefully we'll get some of the listeners on this show to come check out more of your content.
I appreciate it. And I appreciate the thought, and anything I can do to help you, on your show or professionally. So give me a shout.
All right. Well, hopefully that conversation helped you at least know where some things are at, where certain things are lies, or not, I shouldn't say lies, because I don't want to call people liars, but just things are inaccurate. At least that was some information that helped me, knowing that came straight from the source, at least as it pertains to things that Oliver Luck is involved with. And the last thing I want to say, if you're still watching or listening on the different streaming platforms, I saved this for the end, so I didn't make you watch all this at the beginning like I could have, but today is my birthday. So if you're watching on YouTube and you'd like to leave me a little super chat for my birthday, I would very much appreciate it. If anything, just like, subscribe, comment. You're at the end now, so comment as soon as this ends, and then share it with a friend, and I would greatly appreciate that. If you're listening on the streaming platforms, do the 5-star review, leave a comment, get this thing up into the algorithm as much as possible. And again, as said, as Mitch gave you his links and where he can be contacted and reached, or I should say where you can find more about him, I'll leave some of those links down in the description as well. But yeah, man, you've made it to the end. It's my birthday. Give me some love if you don't mind. And till next time, that's it for me today. College Game Time, Trey Smith.